Streaming?
Yeah. Sounds good.
All right. Recording. Everything is recording and streaming.
Awesome.
We're online. We got, I think 5 or 6 views on our last live.
Nice.
Our last one was our most popular one.
Nice.
I mean, you know,
keep going.
So just prepare for fame and fortune, I think, is what, you know, what we should really do, rather than say we got 6 followers, is we should say we doubled our audience.
Yeah.
From episode to episode, we have doubled our audience. We are the fastest growing live broadcast on YouTube. At a rate, anyway. I don't know.
Yeah.
That's how you're supposed to spin it. That's how
we're like 300. We've grown 300% over the last 3 days.
Right. I mean, just massive numbers.
Yeah. Huge.
That's how CBS would spin it anyway for one of their crappy new shows. It's the #1 show on Tuesday nights at 8:00 about moms.
Because it's the only one.
Yeah. That's how CBS does it. Like every one of their shows is #1. So.
Yeah.
All right. We are live again on YouTube. We're Big Brain Strategy.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, I don't know. I always wonder about our name too. Like if you're trying to be clever, or should we have gone like a Jordan Belfort and done like an Oakmont, Stratton Oakmont, right? Is what, well, at least in the movie, I don't know the real name of his company. In Wolf of Wall Street, they became Stratton Oakmont. I don't know the real name, but it was meant to create a name for sounding like, yeah, this is old money and dealing with rich people. So I always wonder, like, we called ourselves Big Brain Strategy, or who has a big brain?
I like Big Brain Strategy, though.
Yeah, I do too, but
we used to be around to it marketing, right? Which I think we've addressed in a couple of our other videos, is that people just assumed that was IT, right? Like, because they would see the round to it, like, you know, and our logo was in all caps and stuff. And so they would just assumed we were an IT company, which is interesting for us because that was never the intention. The intention was to say, we are a team that will do the things that you can't get around to doing. Like,
right.
Like, it's
right. So clever.
Words. But yeah, we're so clever. But, you know, obviously that's, you know, so this is one of those, it was a learning opportunity, but you know, we come to you all with a ton of marketing experience, like something like 40 years between the two of us, you know, in marketing, acquisition, retention, brand strategy, all the things, e-com, all the freaking things. So, you know, we can be here and ask questions or answer questions, and you can ask us questions and we can provide value. It's exciting. What are we doing today, Mike? Are we going to answer some questions today?
Yeah, we can answer questions if they come in. And, you know, I was looking, I follow a lot of forums for marketing folks. So, you know, you're always trying to stay up to date on things and see what people are doing. So social media forum on Reddit, there was a thread that I thought was interesting in Social Media Managers. So I follow that one, and half of the posts are usually some sort of a scammer.
Yeah, usually.
Right. You know,
I mean, I can look at Reddit. I'm kind of looking at my phone right
now. Or
now,
people, it's scammers and people trying now to, because everyone thinks that Reddit is one of the top sources for LLMs and for AI to get AI mentions. So people will just make up threads saying like, hey, everybody, I found this crazy tool you might want to start using, and then name drop some random piece of crap tool they vibe coded, you know, and you're like, okay, this was pretty obviously, you know, but I found this one that I thought was interesting that I thought we would discuss because I think it is relevant to our clients and for folks out there. And this was posted by somebody who's a social media manager, and he said, my client is obsessed with followers and nothing else, and it's making my job stressful.
No.
I know. I know.
Yeah.
Now, in fairness, a lot of things in social media manager subreddit too, social media managers tend to be the newest and youngest people in marketing.
No,
That tends to be where
yeah,
you
that's
hire, like
fair.
everybody hires their niece and nephew to manage their social media. So it tends to be where the youngest people
Yeah,
are.
or just folks who are just kind of out of college
Yeah,
or
brand new.
have, their own following and are, yeah.
You usually put, I remember being at South by Southwest several years ago, and I was going to speak at one of the events there, and it was all CMOs. And I remember a CMO like dismissing me about something because we were big on social media, and he's like, we just have our kids manage our social media. And he was like a Fortune 500 CMO. Like, I don't want to name the company, but you would know it, and he's like, we just have our kids. That's where we put the kids on social media. I'm like, well, you are out of touch because they get seen by millions and millions of people, bro. But so my point was everything stresses out the youngest and newest people. But so obsessed with followers. Now, I just absolutely just had this. Have just had this discussion with a client.
I was going to say, yeah, you did.
50 plus million. It's a law firm. They're a top 5,000, an Inc. 5,000 law firm in the US. Huge law firm. Their CEO is obsessed. And every week they report on their marketing metrics every week. And their marketing meeting weekly, the deck was like over 100 slides. It was crazy what the CEO wanted to have reported to him. But followers was one. He's like, well, we didn't add any new followers. And how many new followers did we get from that? And you're like, oh, followers don't matter anymore, man. Like trying to have that discussion with somebody, and especially a company who has been doing social media and things for as long as this company has, and they're large, but they were doing it back to in the earlier days of Facebook where it did matter.
Yeah.
And that's still how he's thinking because he's the CEO. So he doesn't stay in it day to day. So you try to tell him, you're like, hey, followers don't really matter anymore, and he hears that as an excuse.
But I guess that, and we've seen that with the smaller business that we work with too, right? Like, oh, our Instagram is not growing, right?
Yep.
Like we see it. Yeah.
People think it matters and it does not. And the reason why it just doesn't matter anymore is because all of the platforms are engagement based now. All the algorithms are engagement based, except for maybe LinkedIn. Nobody can figure out what drives the LinkedIn algorithm. They're run by Microsoft and they just routinely just seem to try to do things there just to upset people and make it so nobody wants to use their platform. But every other social media platform out there is driven by engagement. So everything gets a shot. And everything can go out in front of everybody. And if it gets engagement, it's going to be seen. If it doesn't, it won't. That's it. So nobody cares about your follower count anymore. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It only matters as a vanity metric. And, we'll blame influencers for ruining it really, because when influencers first started, and they've been around forever, but when the brand ambassador name switched to influencer, because we used to call them brand ambassadors, then, there's businesses out there who are like, well, we got to find people with big followings. So then followings became a thing. So then people are like, well, I'll buy followers then. And now I look legitimate.
But yeah. And it's weird too, because we've talked about this. Like when you see a huge number of followers and then you see like 4 people engaged in something, well, somebody has like 550,000 followers. You're like, what is this? And then they'll be like, oh, I'm shadow banned.
Right. Yeah. Because so that was the thing then, right? Like you could go and get a Fiverr gig to add 100,000 followers on your Twitter account.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
So that was a thing for a bit then. So you could just go buy followers. You still can go buy followers. You can Google it and find them. And there's Reddit threads for you to go find it. And it's always funny on Reddit. They're like, is there a reputable business out there I can trust to buy followers from? And you're like, I don't think you understand. Reputable and trust and buy followers. No, they're probably not going to be together,
Yeah. It's like that what is that commercial? I still don't know what that one commercial is for, but do you remember the commercial with the 2 ladies? And she
Oh
has, like,
yeah.
paper printouts and, like, they're posted on her actual physical wall, and she's, like, rips one out and she goes, "I unfriend you."
Yeah.
And
That's not
the
how
other
this
one is
works.
like,
Yeah.
"That's not how this works. It's not
Yeah.
how any of this works." That's kind of how I feel like that's what I feel like saying to people when they're like, "Reputable buy," like, where's a reputable place to buy followers? There
Right.
isn't one,
I
right?
know.
And it's wild too because like when TikTok switched over, right? Like in this year, they cleaned out so many bot accounts, right? Like those kind of like farmed, accounts that were like liking and, doing the likes and the following and the engagement and stuff that was, that was like those like services that you could buy to get engagement and followers and stuff. And so it's funny because everybody you could see everybody's follower list just tanked.
Yeah.
Like it's crazy how that I mean it was so evident on TikTok and Instagram has now done something too
Twitter
similar,
did it too a
you
while
know.
back and cleaned out a bunch of followers, and a bunch of celebrities lost a huge number, right? Like,
Yeah.
um, and yeah, Instagram. So
It's
we
great
were,
to watch people have meltdowns over it too like you know what you did.
yeah, I know, right?
No.
Um, Instagram, I know, just did this, what they did. And I think the cynical marketers, I think we're going to talk about this tomorrow. I didn't know this, but I was going to say, let's talk about this tomorrow for the cynical marketers.
Sure.
But Instagram just announced their new policy. They're killing now what somebody called theme accounts, but they are just aggregator accounts. So I know you've all seen them. You see them on TikTok everywhere. You've seen them on Instagram. They're just crap accounts, user 587642, that just steal content. And then they have some Asian voice softly speaking over it, so it trips up the content filters. They're just content theft, accounts out there that for the longest time, Instagram wasn't doing anything about. And then they're typically used by garbage affiliate marketers then who have links and stuff and they get enough views and people think they're legitimate. But now
Yeah.
Instagram is killing those things and they're going after those folks. So I saw a tear-jerking thread about it on Reddit yesterday. People were like, I can't believe they're doing this. And I went, and commented in there. It's like, it's about time. I hope TikTok does it too, but I doubt TikTok will, because if TikTok got rid of the bot theft accounts, half of TikTok's accounts would go away. They'd lose half of their users in a day, because it seems to be all that TikTok is now is stolen content.
Yeah.
And if you are a creator and you get to any kind of a size, that's how you know you've arrived, I think. When you see somebody, like if you've seen somebody maybe enough and then all of a sudden you see them and it's on one of those weird accounts, you're like, oh, wow. Hey, congratulations, man. You've grown enough now that people think your content should be stolen. I guess that means something. You must really have a following, but most of them don't care. Like TikTok doesn't care. I was hoping, it was one of my predictions this year too, earlier in the year, because I thought with TikTok now going to be majority US owned here for the US platform, what I thought that was going to do was access to US courts for people, and that it would deal with some of the content theft, the copyright theft that is rampant on TikTok. And it hasn't done a thing.
Yeah.
It's still everywhere.
Yeah. I mean, the TikTok is like my biggest issue with the TikTok accounts and all of that stuff is when people, like you said, if they got rid of all the accounts that just simply take other people's stuff and repost and pretend to be that account, right? Like they would lose an insane amount of accounts and
Yeah.
engagement and it's wild. There's a couple of creators on Instagram that I follow that have been banned from TikTok for some time because they were speaking out on um like one in particular that I can think of that was speaking out about calling out grown men who were commenting on videos of little girls and little boys. And that person got banned some time ago. And he only has a Substack and an Instagram profile. And there are I mean, dozens of accounts of people reposting his stuff, right?
Oh
And I
yeah.
wish they would ban that kind of stuff. I mean, we see it with like there's like that Jake marketing wizard like guy that we see pop up all the time for us, right? That there's like multitude of, his fake accounts. It's never like I mean, I see it some people try to like do like those motivational accounts where they'll repost like multiple big creators, right? But it's the ones that are kind of like those accounts that are popular but not quite so huge, right? Like not in the millions of followers that people like do copies of. And I wish that like TikTok and I wish to Instagram, TikTok, all the platforms would take those off. Like they would take those down, like once
Yeah.
they're reported. Like
They
if it's
won't.
not the legitimate person,
Yep.
like, you need to take that down. And they just don't care,
They won't
you know?
because TikTok has no incentive to do it because TikTok just wants
Right.
people staying on their platform watching videos. So they don't care. Doesn't hurt them at all. TikTok wants you on to be shown ads and for you to see people selling in the TikTok shop because TikTok's
Yeah.
a 7% partner in everything sold on the TikTok shop. So they also don't care about copyright merchandise being sold on their shops because they get a 7% cut of that. That was another
Yeah.
thing I was hoping. Now this is US owned. Now they can be held accountable for those things, but you still see it everywhere. I see it
Yeah.
constantly of people selling NFL merch, Major League Baseball, NBA, the Masters, like stuff that is like major companies and legit
Yeah.
stuff that you're like, there's no way you have the license for this, because I mean, I used to do clothing and that stuff. So I know who the licensees are of those things and who is authorized to sell that stuff. And you're like, it's not you. And most of those guys too, they're Chinese companies overseas and then they use affiliates on TikTok. That's how they market to the US audience. They'll use an affiliate. So some shill account of some doofus here in the US who's going to sell this stuff and he gets or she gets a cut of it. And you're like, hey, you're helping sell stolen merchandise, right? Like that's copyright stuff. You're like, hey man, what do you want me to do about it? I'm just trying to feed my family. Like, well, it's against the law, but do you, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, it's weird, but I don't
But
know. I'm
the
trying to look up
platforms have
people
no
actually.
incentive because no one has held them accountable yet. The only time it happens, music, number one, because the music industry does not play with people. They will take you to
Yeah.
court. They don't care.
Yeah, the music industry, yeah, they just
They
it's
don't care.
you're right. There's like one place where you can't mess around.
You can't screw with music. If
No,
you're
no
if you're a
way.
business account and you put some sort of copyrighted music on a video, you're getting that thing muted. You're probably going to get your account banned. You're going to get a copyright flag.
Yeah.
You will get the hammer on you for music. And then the other one you don't mess with is Disney. You can't screw with the mouse.
Yeah.
That mouse is a gangster. That stupid mouse will come after you. You
Yeah,
try
they
to
don't care.
sell, you want to make a cute t-shirt with an Aladdin genie on it.
Nope.
They're
No, you
coming.
can't.
Yeah, they're coming. They don't care
They're
where
coming
you
after
are.
like the smallest creators.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, they went after people. You remember, it's probably been a couple of years now. When TikTok first really launched their shops and they were pushing it, people were doing that where they're like, oh, because normally they were doing it on Etsy and they were so small, Disney didn't notice and never saw you, so people were getting away with it. And then, look, these are just, moms and people out in a suburb somewhere. They don't know the laws. So they're like, well, I drew this design myself. What's wrong with it? And so I'm like, I've been selling on Etsy for 2 years and now you're mad? Well, now because you got shown on a platform.
Well, now because you got
Yeah, people found out. They found out. They're like, oh my God, I could owe like $100,000. Like,
yeah.
yeah, that mouse doesn't play. So that's
No,
the
they
only
don't.
other time something has really been shut down is because Disney was pissed. You don't take Disney's money.
Yeah.
But the NFL doesn't seem to
I mean,
mind. I see NFL gear out here on TikTok shops all the time. NFL doesn't seem to
I
care.
don't think that they even care because I think like specifically for NFL though, like I think the quality of merch is just so drastically different.
Oh yeah.
You
Well,
know, that like I don't know. I mean, and I don't know. I just think that these platforms, they don't care. They get a percentage,
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
So
Yeah,
they're gonna
no
keep
incentive.
going because it's not they are not liable for what you sell,
Yep.
right? They're just gonna assume, they're gonna say, if anything goes awry, they're gonna say, well, we just assumed you had a license to do this, right? Like, we just assumed it is the responsibility of the seller to have a license. Because if anybody were to do a cease and desist, they're not going to send it to TikTok. They're going to send it to the person selling
Yep.
whatever, right? And that person is going to take down that store and pop up another one within a week,
But
you
that's what I
know?
was hoping with
So,
the American ownership, because they are a 7%, they take a 7% cut of the shops. I think it's 7, pretty sure. They're one of the higher ones.
yeah,
Um,
yeah,
that you are responsible now. You are not just a platform, you are benefiting and profiting from this. So you know
right,
this about Shopify. Shopify, you can't put up gear that you don't have a license for. Shopify will ban your
right,
store.
correct,
You try to do even a parody, and
right,
Shopify will probably shut you down because Shopify
right,
has been held accountable
right.
because businesses here in the US know they're like, hey, no, we're coming after you. You got the
They
money.
have, and they're very explicit in their terms and
Yeah.
conditions, right? So, like, if it's in a violation of their terms and conditions, you know, it's just, it is what it is, you know?
Yeah, so you
Like,
can't do it
yeah,
on Shopify, on WooCommerce, on the legit e-commerce platforms. They have pretty clear rules about you selling. But
yeah,
TikTok Shop is the Wild West. You do whatever you want to, apparently, on this thing. And if you actually go and ever look at a product, and I've done this before, I try not to, because when you click into anything now, you're screwing up your own algorithm, you know. But game emulators are something that I had looked at. I would love to get one at some point. You know what a game emulator is? It's like a PlayStation controller, right? And it's got a
yeah,
thousand
but,
games or
like, yeah,
whatever.
it's got, like, yeah, it's those, like, yeah,
Yeah.
those,
So
yeah,
I see them on TikTok Shop, and you looked at it, and then you go look in the comments, and you're like, half the comments are like, "Well, I ordered it and it never showed up," and you're
it
like, "Yeah,
never showed up, yeah.
shocking." You know,
Well,
who
and
do
a lot
you?
of that stuff comes from
Right,
overseas, and it
exactly.
takes an insane amount of time to get here, and or they're presenting to be one thing and they sent you something completely different, or it never arrives, or, like, there is a multitude of things. But in a lot of the times, Mike, the stuff is so cheap, right? That people are like, meh. Like, if I spend like 30 bucks on this thing or 50 bucks on this thing that would normally cost me like $200, well, if it gets here, it gets here. If it doesn't, like, I feel
Right.
like that happens a lot of the times too, where it's just so inexpensive that people kind of know, like, they're not going to put in an effort to complain then if they don't get what they ordered.
Yep.
They're just gonna kinda be like, "Meh." Because we had this situation too when I was working in Noggin, and we were supporting a company, a military-owned, veteran-owned brand, not military-owned, but military-focused, veteran-owned brand. And I don't wanna mention them because 'cause they're still in business and they're still around, but there was another site that was created that was a duplicate of that site, of our Shopify store. And it was, they just added the letter S at the end
Oh
of the
yeah. Yeah.
URL, and
Yeah.
then they launched ads. They did ads, right? Like, they did Facebook ads to promote the merch. They were never sending anything out. And we were flooded with customer service issues, because they were like, well, I ordered. And we were like, no, you didn't actually. Right. But this, and we had to go, it was a legal battle. It was literally took us almost like 7 or 8 months to get that other website shut down and to get, like, Facebook to stop publishing their ads, because Facebook was like, well, I don't know, this looks legit. Like, no, it's not. Like, we're sending you our business license and our incorporation papers and, like, all of our legal stuff. And we could not shut that website down, Mike. And that, for
Yeah.
me, that was like an experience that I've never had before, because we were like, what the heck is this thing? Right. Like, in how, as a marketer, you look at these things and I looked at those people's ads, and, like, unless you really, like, clicked and paid attention to the URL, which most people don't
Oh right.
really, right? you thought you were on a legit website. You got an order confirmation, like you thought you ordered this thing, you know? And so it really impacted at the time, like our Black Friday, Cyber Monday sales and
Hmm.
customer service was an issue because then people were coming to our social media pages and saying, I ordered this thing and I never got it. You guys are scamming people. You're not,
Yep.
and we're like, we don't know you, man. Like, we don't have any orders from you. And it took us a while to figure out like where the stuff was coming from. Like, because if you looked at the email, it was branded. Like, but it took an insane amount of time to get that other website down, and it was just such an interesting experience. Like, you
Yeah.
know,
We never
it
could.
was a
When at
nightmare,
Grunt Style, there
you
was a
know?
lady on Amazon. I won't say her whole name, but it actually legitimately had heifer in it.
Yeah.
And she used to put up our designs all the time on
Yeah.
Amazon. And, Amazon's like, yeah, whatever.
Nothing for that, I think.
Suck it.
Yeah.
You know, what
Nothing
are you
you
going to
can
do about
do.
it? Take her to court. Like, and we tried
Yeah.
to. And they're like, too bad.
Yeah.
Everyone's too bad. And if, on Facebook, if you remember too, Ranger Up, who's back trying to make a
Yeah.
comeback now, but we know the Ranger Up folks, they had that too
Mhm.
with somebody putting out a fake
Literally
store,
whoever
right? And I think
talking
this was,
about. I just didn't want to call them out by name. I
oh,
didn't know
okay.
if
Oh, no,
true
it's
or
fine.
not,
It
but
wasn't because it wasn't them. They had it happen to them, right?
no, they had it happen to them, right? And
It was a
so
fake
it was
store, Grunt
awful.
Style. We've had it, or when we were there, people putting up fake stores and complain to Facebook about anything. Facebook complaint is useless. Useless. Because
Nothing
it's
happens.
overseas. It's an overseas team somewhere of contractors. And they're like, yeah, we investigated. We found no violations in our terms of service. They are saying they're us. What do you mean there's no violation? Can we appeal this? No. Who made this decision? Like, we spend a lot of money with you guys. Like, how do I get to an actual person? Is there a person I can talk to? And it's Facebook useless to complain to, and which leads me to like, hey, try not to build when, like Alex Hormozy used to say too, before the TikTok almost shut down thing, when he would say, build on one platform. You're like, don't ever build on just one platform, because those things can be taken away from you at any time. And anyone out there who's worked in social media long enough and doing brand stuff, you've probably had an account flagged or banned on Facebook for no reason. That nothing that you did wrong or anything, just like, hey, this violated our terms. Like, but why? What about it? It's crazy. And I used to fight with Facebook like years and years ago. We were one of their bigger advertisers. I used to spend $1 million a month on Facebook. And years ago, that was, one of the bigger ones. And we were the biggest veteran brand on the Facebook platform. So they tried to treat us well. So I would be out in California to meet with them. I would go to Menlo Park and meet at actual Facebook, not with Zuck. I never got that high. I got pretty close to Zuck, but never met with him. But pretty high. Names of people you would know, and they didn't care. They didn't care. They didn't care about us. They didn't really care about anything. They would be like, we have to protect our users from you. And you're like, what? What do you think we're trying to do to people? Like, we're a legitimate business. We're not in a business of like trying to make people angry. You understand that, right? People have a bad experience with us. They don't come back to us and we don't get sales and we go out of business. Like, do you know how a business runs? No, is the short answer. They don't. No. And there's nobody at Facebook who does.
Always know, I feel like,
And anyone who was working in those offices, the people they hire straight out of Stanford or UCLA who've never actually worked in a business, they came out of fancy school in California to work directly at Facebook. They don't know either. They've never worked an actual real job either. They've never managed a P&L. They've never had to manage employees other than their own Facebook teams, which they do weird stuff there,
Yeah.
But it's so hard to deal with all these platforms because none of them are businesses in the sense that you are a business. They don't get it. And they certainly don't care about small businesses. When they're talking to anybody, they're talking to Coca-Cola, Nike, big, huge brands. That's who they're thinking about when they think of business. Bob's Accounting in Savannah, Georgia, they're not thinking about you and your $20 a day ad spend. They don't care about you.
Yeah.
Zuckerberg does not build a compound in Hawaii because of Bob's Accounting. Now he does really, because that's the majority of their advertising actually is small businesses, but they don't care.
I mean, that's kind of like, but I mean, it's kind of how Amazon is too, right? Amazon is
all of them, yeah, all of them.
Money off of small businesses as well.
Yeah, you had that stat last time we talked about it. Like, what percentage of their, their Amazon days or their Prime days are small businesses?
Yeah, like over 66% or something like that.
Yeah.
I remember correctly. It's been a minute. Yeah.
It's a huge percentage of their business that is, so it's a high volume, low dollar amount, but it's all these small businesses that make everything up. But on the individual side, they don't care about you because they think they'll replace you.
Yeah.
So you get mad and say, well, I'm not going to advertise on Facebook anymore. I don't like them for policy X. No, I'm not going to advertise. And Facebook's like, okay.
Where are you going to go?
Yeah, okay,
I mean, this
bye.
was the thing at the beginning of the year, right? Like where Meta was like, oh, we're going to share all the data. Like they have been, right?
Sure, yeah.
And everybody was like, well, no, we, screw Facebook. We're not going, we're not advertising on Meta anymore and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, well, okay, but where are you going? What is going to replace that? Because if we're being real, a lot of small businesses, especially in e-com, rely on Meta ads.
Yeah.
That's what keeps most of them in business. Because even though they've built brands and they've tried to they've been around for years, if they relied on direct traffic and retention traffic only, they would not grow. They would not be in business, period. Right? Like, because there's only so much repeat traffic you can go. Where are you going to go? That still remains the most effective form of acquisition advertising.
Yeah.
Where will you go? Especially if you're a direct to consumer brand. If you're a B2B, maybe you'll go to LinkedIn, right? Maybe you'll go to direct business directories. Maybe you'll go to like different but if you're a direct to consumer e-com brand, I mean, how will you get off Facebook? Especially if your business relies heavily on it now,
I can't, you're a direct consumer e-com, you have to be on Meta, you have to be on TikTok. You have to have a Facebook page, you have to have an Instagram page, you need to have a TikTok page, you need Pinterest. You've got to be out there where the people are at. And Facebook is still Meta is still the number one social media company in the world. Average daily users. People are like, no, nobody uses Facebook anymore. No, people do use Facebook. And even when they're like, it's all bots, like, yeah, it's not.
It's not though. And the thing is though, it's Meta, right? So it's Facebook and it's Threads and it's Instagram. So it's not just this one entity standalone. It's a combination of 3 separate platforms, which are in and of themselves all pretty huge. And I'm starting to see more and more and more ads pop up on Threads too. Like I'm starting to see more sponsored stuff on Threads, so it's where people are. And like, if you take that away, where do you go? Like, I get it. Like all these, I mean, look, like we're not, all these big companies like Meta and Amazon and, all of them, right? Like an X and whatever, all these AI companies, all of these guys are like billionaires and gazillionaires and like whatever. And none of them have gotten there ethically. I don't believe that. I do not believe that there's an ethical billionaire in existence. Like I will die on this hill. I don't think I'm alone on it either. So like, I get it. You don't want to participate. And I would love for us to not have to, right? But where will you go? And we talked about this. I think there was if all of these platforms went away, how do you promote your business? Like we've talked about that because that was a question on Reddit and we've posed that question and we've answered that question. And like, there's definitely different avenues, but none of them will give you the return on your investment like Meta does. And so for all of the problematic things with them, they're still growing your business. You're still employing people in your business. It's kind of like I don't want to call it a necessary evil, but it's like, what else do you do? Like, where else do you go? I don't know. I don't know.
It's the
you know?
cheapest one. TikTok ads are their platform, and I I think you said that you think it's secretly owned by Facebook. Maybe it's eerily similar, the TikTok ads platform, to the Meta ads manager, but I think they also had a lot of former TikTok or Facebook people working there. But those platforms are still the cheapest way to get in front of people. Yeah, you can go to LinkedIn, but LinkedIn ads are really expensive. LinkedIn ads are
They are, and they're
expensive.
not effective.
Yeah,
You're advertising to other marketers. Unless you're advertising for something that marketers can use,
right.
there's no
It's
one else. I
tough.
am convinced, Mike, that there's no one else besides marketing people on LinkedIn. Like, I genuinely am convinced of this
Well, or
because
anyone,
and it's different
everyone else only goes on
lanes of
LinkedIn
marketing and
when they
sales.
need a job. So
Yeah.
it's
Like,
marketers and the unemployed, you
yeah,
know?
exactly. And so, like, but that's what I mean. It's like
Yeah.
different lanes of marketing. It's lead gen services and social media services and website services and maybe some IT folks. But in general, it's just, you don't see many accountants and lawyers and estate planners and real estate folks and, you know, founders of logistics companies and so on, right? Like, it's when you look, like you said, if you're either going to go look for a job or you're quote unquote networking, and you're networking with the likes of you. So,
Yep.
it's, I mean, like, how many times have we been reached out to and offered marketing services for our
No.
company because they see co-founder or founder in our title and they're like, oh my God, perfect. Target that person. It doesn't matter what company they actually founded or co-founded, you
The
know?
one I'm getting lately, because I think it's now right now my primary thing on LinkedIn is our podcast. So I
Yeah.
like my last 4 messages, I think, were something about, would you like to learn how to increase your podcast guests or something along those lines?
Yeah.
You know, or are you investing in your podcast? I'm like, did you even watch our podcast? Clearly we're not investing anything into it. Like, I mean,
Yeah.
no, no, we're not. The whole goal of our podcast is to not spend money on it,
Right.
you know?
The whole It's funny because I don't and I don't think you need to. I don't
Right.
think this is one thing that I still agree with Gary Vee. I don't think you need to have high production value. I don't think you need a videographer. I don't think you need fancy editing to still get a valuable message out there.
Mhm.
I think that there is value in just showing up and talking about the things that you know and sharing the skills and the experience that you have. And it's what we do, and occasionally we'll rant because it is the cynical marketers, right? Like, and we've been around long enough to be cynical, right? So it's, to me, it's just, like, what would be the difference? Would people want to watch what we have to say more if we had like this fancy studio and we would still be saying the same things,
Right.
right? But then people argue about that and they say, there's that like water bottle analogy of like, if you go to a grocery store, a water bottle is like $1, but if you go to the airport, it's like $5 or whatever, right? Like that analogy of kind of your value depends on where you are. And I don't know, maybe I'm naive and like I don't really necessarily subscribe to that all the
Yeah.
time.
Yeah.
That's not I think if you have something smart to say, just say it. You don't need, God, like, I mean, we've met people who pay like $1,500 per episode of their podcast,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
that's why they record 4 of them and nothing happens.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think we've spent $1,500 on a year and a half worth of podcasts,
No.
you
Um,
know,
yeah.
like, to me, it's crazy, but what do I know?
Well,
You
people
know?
don't know too, like podcast guests and stuff, like you're usually having to pay to get those
Right.
people on. Especially if they have a name or a following at all. You're usually paying
Yeah.
them to come on
Well,
unless
yeah,
you're a
like
huge
Ty Lopez
podcast.
for the longest time was sending out emails saying that if you wanted him, Ty Lopez, on your podcast,
Yeah.
right? And he's huge. It was something wild, like $15,000 for him to
Right.
be on your podcast for 30 minutes, And so, yeah, like those guys, that's a revenue stream for them because they have an audience. So and people would assume that, like, hey, if I can get Ty Lopez on my podcast, this is a good investment.
Yep.
Maybe, maybe not.
Well, because
You
then
know,
it's
just
like
I'm
now, oh, that's a real look at this podcast. Like they must be really
you
important.
know,
Look at the guests that
right.
they have
But
on.
then you blow your budget on that, and then what?
Yep.
You
Diary of a
know, and are
CEO,
they
right?
coming to hear you?
He had some money and started bringing on big names. And then people are like, wow, this guy, look how important this is.
Yeah.
And that's, what's that one woman's name? And I can't remember her name now, but she was the deadpan one. She's ruined her life with her podcast. The one who divorced her husband then and was in bed with Drake on her podcast.
Oh God, I don't know. I kind
Huh.
of know, but I'm not like pop
She got a
culture
divorce
exactly.
and ruined her life. This is something for social media fame people don't get.
Yeah.
Are you sure you want to be social media famous? Because it's more than likely going to end badly. The social media fame rarely ends well because it will always end. It's rare to get so famous, but then it's even more rare to stay there. There's usually a downfall.
Exhausting. Yeah, it's exhausting. I don't know why you would ever want this.
I don't know. I don't know why anyone would want it either.
I don't know. Never in my life have I thought that fame in any capacity or being recognized in any capacity would be a good thing.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's just because I feel like we're all human. We're all going to mess up. Right. And you talk about, talk about how quickly social media will turn on you.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, we have countless examples. Therapy Jeff is the most recent one, right? And now he's taking a break. He hasn't been on social media for like the last month since he got called out for, saying like we should have a national hotline where people who feel an impulse to assault someone sexually can call and get help. Right. And he got crucified for that. And then what happened is because people like thought that was really off-putting, right? Coming from a licensed, a licensed counselor, they went and dug up every single thing that they could possibly find. And that's what happens, right? And I think about this too, Mike. I'm like, there are probably comments and likes I've left on videos on social media for people that I absolutely no longer like. Right? Like I know that like, for example, for me, like I think there were a couple of things like when Candace Owens first started years ago, right? I was like, oh, she is kind of an interesting personality. She has some interesting things to say. And I followed her, and I'm sure at some point I engaged with her videos, and I haven't done that in years. But if somebody, I'm sure that can be all dug up somewhere, right? Like you think about those things. Think about when Kevin Hart like was, scheduled to host the Oscars, right? And how tweets that he's posted about worrying if his child would grow up to be gay, like those resurface.
Yep.
Right. And those were things that were like 15 years prior to him hosting the Oscars, like when no one knew who Kevin Hart was. Right. And so it's interesting to me how, like, why would anybody chase that fame and chase that recognition when you know how easily it can all, like, what that does to your mental health, I can't even imagine.
Yeah.
Like I can't imagine what somebody coming into your comments and calling you names, and that's what businesses don't understand too. They all think they want to go viral. And we've talked about this for so many times. No, you don't. You don't want to go viral. Because the more eyes that are on you, the more critical things, like critical people become. And I mean, just go look what's happening on social media. No one's happy on there.
The more hate you'll get.
No one has anything to say. There's people posting prom pictures of their children, and there's literal adults in comments trashing kids.
Yeah.
We are not in a good place as a society. So why you would ever want to go viral?
Well, it's just, like social media has always been that way, right? Social media trolls it because people are anonymous and it's easy. And people
they are, right?
People are afraid to put themselves out on social media because they know what'll happen. And I'm always like, well, yeah, at first you won't get any of that because no one ever sees you. When you get your first, start to get a negative comment or a hate comment, you're like, oh, okay, well now that means you're actually being seen by new people.
Right.
When you start to get the hate.
Yeah. And it's bad.
And if you don't get any hate either, then it's like, man, you're kind of boring. Then you're not even bothering people enough to make them comment on something.
But then we've also talked about this, and you start getting that engagement and you start getting that shock value of certain posts, and then you just continue to chase that. And if you are a business, that is not the way to show up. You don't need to be doing all that.
Exactly.
Like I think that's where a lot of the businesses go wrong. And like, I love the skits that some of these businesses are doing. I love, like, so Doc Spartan, for example, who we work with, did a video for Mother's Day, where a co-founder, Dale, did a video and like did a skincare routine. And he's like, I'm Renee, right? Like, Renee is the other co-founder. And
Yeah.
it was really funny and cute. Like, that's the kind of stuff that I think is pretty great, right? Like, when car dealerships do things like, look at the size of this trunk, and then the sales guy is like in the trunk of every vehicle he's showing you, like, that's kind of I mean, it's funny to me, right? But I don't think, but when you get entangled into rage baity kind of content, I think you got to be really careful as a business where you go with that. Um, and like, also
Mhm.
don't engage with other people's rage bait content from your business account, for the love of everything. Like,
Or even
just
when you're
don't do
trying,
it,
like, the
you
car
know?
dealerships are popular for this right now. They're your funny sketches and stuff. Okay, you're going to get a lot of views, but you're going to get a lot of views from people who are nowhere near you. They're not going to ever buy a car
Right.
from you. And then,
Yeah.
so people are going to come in, and then what? I'm buying a car from you because you guys do funny sketches, but then your finance guy screws everybody,
Yeah.
like, okay, does this
Yeah.
still mean you're a good place to buy a car from?
Yeah.
I want my dentist to be the best dancer,
Answer.
because
Yeah.
that's another one. The dentist, the scrubs content, I'll call it, right? Because chiros,
Yeah.
dentists, the
Yeah.
small doctors or whoever, the plastic surgeons, people who wear scrubs, they'll do content. They're one of the other
Yeah.
folks who'll do content. But then does that mean you're good at what you do? And then you're just trying to do that. So, okay, you went viral for this funny song parody.
Right.
Did it get you customers? And now what's your
Yeah.
next video? So you did that one. So now you want to do a video talking about this thing you're an actual expert at. And what's going to happen to that video? People are like, well, no, man, go back to that other thing and dance for me.
Yeah.
I'm going to play the music
Yeah.
box and you dance. I don't care about what you know about teeth.
Yeah.
So you caution businesses for it. And then ClickUp is an example of another one. And here's the thing. This is what screws up so many businesses too. They see somebody like ClickUp, and
Yeah.
I know you've seen their content. And
They
then
just have something
you'll
else
be in
going on.
meetings with businesses and they're like, how can we do that? And you're like, okay, but understand that those videos you're seeing at ClickUp, that team, those are professional performers. Those are not employees of
And they
ClickUp.
are, yeah.
You know,
It's interesting too. Like, they just came out, Mike. I actually meant to send it to you. I don't know, maybe I did on Instagram, but I just saw another video of theirs on their ClickUp comedy channel, right? Because
yeah,
they have a ClickUp comedy channel on Instagram. I just saw another video today that popped up, and it was AI related. Right. And it was like this like person that was representing AI, and then a person representing leadership dancing, and then the other
yeah, I saw
people
that
were
one.
like,
I've seen that. I just saw
yeah.
that. Yep.
Yeah, that just popped up, and I was like, "Ugh, it's just not like, it doesn't, again, doesn't hit well." And it was interesting, like, we talked about this for ClickUp. Nobody still understood what ClickUp does. And bless it, like, I am working actively in ClickUp right now to support one of the clients that we're working with, or that I'm working with. And it is a nightmare, by the way. Hi, if you've ever worked in ClickUp, it's a nightmare.
Yeah.
Like, it is like there's like 4 different screens where you need to look to see where your tasks are. I hate it. I absolutely hate it. Like, I am not a fan. There's not a skit that they can do, Mike, that's gonna make me like their product any better. It won't. You
Yeah.
know what I mean?
But I
Like,
always think businesses watch that then and they're like, how can we do that? And you're like, none of your people want to do that. And you got to understand those people there that they're using, those are performers. That's an
those are
agency.
professionals.
Those are
Yeah. I mean, we
professionals.
see, like, I assign you a million different posts, and I'm like, oh, look, it's a ClickUp guy again.
Yeah.
Right? The
That guy
that
has his own agency. He's a comedian. He used to be a marketing guy. Like, he and I used to be connected on LinkedIn, and then he got mad at me. for something. Like we were connected on LinkedIn a few years ago. But if you remember what ClickUp, so this is what they first started doing. They started doing videos making fun of different jobs.
Right.
So they did one, they were making fun of project managers at one point. And I commented on his video on LinkedIn. I'm like, making fun of the people who are going to buy ClickUp program. That's an interesting choice.
Right.
Making fun of your primary audience.
Probably what got you banned, Mike.
That's a choice. You know, like
Probably what got you banned.
Mocking your customer base. Okay. And that was before, like, yeah. So that guy too is like, you know, you don't actually work at ClickUp. You're just a funny comedian making things for them.
Yeah.
But then that's where businesses are like, we need to find these people on our team. And like, well, maybe you have talented folks who can do that. Maybe, but more than likely not. And they don't want to do this stuff for you.
Yeah.
They got hired to do their job. They want to do their job. They don't want to be in your social media videos.
Yeah.
People don't like being on camera. So now they're definitely not going to try and perform a sketch on camera. Now you want Bob in accounting to be a sketch comedian for you? No. Just because you saw other businesses doing it, who again are hiring professional performers.
Right.
And you're like, we need to have our employees do this. Like, no, I don't think so.
Yeah.
No, they don't want to. You know that, right? Like,
yeah,
most of your
don't.
employees are not going to be on camera for you. They don't want to be on camera for themselves. They're definitely not going to do it for you.
Oh no, for sure not.
So
I don't know.
it's hard. That's a hard thing about making that kind of content. So it's a different thing than if you can talk to your like sales team. Like I think if you're a business and you have a sales team, your salespeople should be on social media constantly. Because they're out there talking to people. They need to get their faces out, you know, be seen in your community and talk about your sales, your product, your process. How do you help people? What are common questions, FAQs? You need to be putting that content out, you know, and be found. And then what I hear then is from CEOs and CFOs and stuff like, well, what happens if somebody's going to get famous and they then become the face of our brand? They're like, yeah, okay, fine. What's wrong with that?
Right.
Well, what if they leave then? Yeah, you know, that might happen. I don't know. Deal with that if that ever happens.
Yeah, deal with that when it happens. Cross that bridge when you get there, you know?
You're worried about a problem you're unlikely to have. And if you do have it, you still had a lot of sales coming in. And if you're the kind of business then, if that person leaves and their customers go with them, then you're probably not a very good business.
Yeah.
You know, like I would say there's problems in your business. You probably have a retention issue. What's your churn, I would ask?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's like saying somebody's going to cancel their Progressive auto policy because Flo left.
Yeah,
like,
they fired Flo, right? They're getting we're done with Progressive. You know?
Just crazy, but yeah.
If they ever did get rid of Flo though, maybe I'll think about Progressive.
I like Progressive, but that's a side quest. Sorry.
Emu and Doug.
Yeah.
Or the one that I'll never buy. I will never. Liberty Mutual, the Liberty Bibberty that they are just leaning into, and they know they're leaning into it. This is the rage bait stuff. They know how much people hate it. So they're leaning into it now. They're like, oh, okay, screw you. We're going to make more Liberty Bibberty commercials. How do you like that? We're going to add a new character. We're going to give Bibberty moron a girlfriend. How about that? Suck on that.
Hate those commercials. I also hate the Geico commercials too, but that's just me. I don't.
The insurance people have the benefit of having a product that is required by the government.
Yeah.
So you are a captive audience, really. How many choices do you have, really? And they're all equally bad, right? So you're like, well, I'm going to quit. I'm quitting State Farm.
Yeah.
Where are you going? To who? Right. Fine. Go to Allstate.
Yeah.
Whoever.
I don't know.
Good luck.
Well, I think that, you know, that's our little live PSA for today. I just think it's just, you know, social media. I don't know. Then again, you know, it's all those companies get hate too on social media. But like you said, they're required to be.
But they want it. Because you know what? When you get hate on social media, what is it?
Right.
It's engagement.
Yeah.
When you're going to comment to tell them how stupid this is, they don't care that you think
They
it's
don't care.
stupid.
They get the engagement.
They got the
Yeah.
engagement. Now you're helping it get seen by more people. Your comment helps them get seen by more people. So they like it. Yeah, I'm trying to get you to hate me. I want you to hate me.
Yeah.
More hate. They feed on it. The algorithms feed on the hate.
But that's why there is such a thing as rage bait
Mhm.
content. That's why that's a term that, you know, we thought would go away this year, but definitely not.
I was hoping,
So
because I actually was thinking about it yesterday, that I'm like, man, with AI, there should be, you know, you can't tell me that they don't know the signal, right? So they're just
They do.
saying
They
we
just
can't
don't
tell if a
care.
comment's positive or negative, right? You don't know the sentiments rating in there. We just see the content. So it's bing, 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 right? We're just rating the numbers of that and saying this is engagement. But now you
They can
can't.
tell.
So you're like, you know, so I was hoping they would do something with that. But if they ever tried to do that, I was just thinking how quickly that would be gamed, you know? Then you just, you know, if it was only for positive engagement, then now I'm going to rescue kittens. And we're going to have a video where my company just goes and,
But I just think that like there should
Yeah.
be a sentiment. I mean, Edits app has a sentiment for your comments. If you're a big creator, it will kind of tell you like how people are reacting. You know, I think they definitely have those tools available, but you know, it's I think the point at the end of the day, Mike, is if you're a business, like don't try to rage bait, don't try to engagement bait, show up as yourself, do
Yeah.
the things that make sense for your business. You know, that's what you need to be doing. You do need to show up. That's the reality of it, but you don't need to chase the trends, because at the end of the day, like if any of one of our videos goes viral, and we've had them, like, you know, we've had millions of views on several videos that you've done, it has brought us zero business.
yeah, right.
Right. So like keep that in mind. That is not an indication of, you know, anything really. And I think the expectation that videos should be going viral all the time is insane, but I don't know.
Yeah. Can you make
Mike,
us go
check your
viral?
no going viral. So
You're an industrial flange company,
yeah.
you know? Like the product that you sell, very necessary for underwater, you know, oil transportation. But I'm not entirely sure it's going to go viral on TikTok if we're talking about, you know, the specifications of your flanges.
Yeah.
Susie, the 14-year-old in Sacramento, California, has to be interested in this. And I don't think she's going to be
Yeah.
for you to go viral,
Exactly.
you know?
No, absolutely not. Not for a business, but
And then if you're going to then, because, you know, the way for you to go viral if you were that kind of company is you grab a couple of your big beefy dudes in one of your factories or something and do some like fake calendar shoot with them, right? I'm seeing this right now. There's a mechanic shop doing this with a really funny dude who's bigger. He's a big dude, you know, and he's doing, you know, funny stuff like that. And they're going viral for it. But then you're like, well, okay, are you still a good mechanic? If you're, my question for businesses is, if you have so much time to do these things,
then what else are you doing? Right?
hey, is this why my tax returns take so long for you guys to get them done? Because you're busy filming content? Like, you must not have that many clients.
Yeah.
If you have all this time.
Interesting, like that one company that has those construction guys like Puma and Julio, and I don't remember who the third guy is, right? Now they're selling a course on how to go viral online. And it's just, you know, it like, okay, that works for you, right?
Yeah.
I don't know that it's necessarily a thing that every business needs to do, but you know, just show up, talk about
any of the hot girls who use the bird hands.
Yes.
It's always the hot girls who use bird hands, and they're social media coaches. I see them on TikTok all the time. Here's what you need to be doing right now to go viral on TikTok. And you're like, well, yes, be hot, be pretty. Don't be not pretty.
I was going to say, be a pretty young girl.
Yeah,
or, you know, build yourself an AI version of a pretty hot girl.
I always love it when like the smoking hot blonde is like, folks, it's really simple to go viral. Like, well, for you,
yes.
Not for this. This isn't going to go viral.
Woman. Right.
You know, you sexist. Like, oh, it's just it's social media. It's an entertainment forum. So yes,
social
I don't know
media,
if
you
you're
don't need to
seeing
go
this.
viral unless this is like your living depends on this. Like,
Yeah.
why would you chase the virality? Like, it doesn't actually matter. And to circle back to the beginning of our conversations, the follower count does not matter.
Right.
It does not matter. All the platforms are built so that you are pushed in front of everybody. Everybody gets an equal chance.
You're all getting a shot.
And so you're all getting a shot. You do it on TikTok, you do it on YouTube Shorts, on Instagram Reels, on Facebook Reels, whatever it is, you have a shot to be seen. Don't worry about the follower count. Don't worry about the engagement, worry about responding to anybody that comments or that engages with you. Engage with other accounts. It's really not that complicated, I feel like. So,
no, it's
and
just,
be
that's the
consistent.
boring.
Be consistent.
Yeah. It's the boring thing about marketing. It's there's no big secret hacks or tricks. It's really just, it's mostly kind of boring. You're going to talk about your product and your service and what you do for your customers and how you solve a problem for them or fulfill a need or a want and why they should work with you, and do that over and over and over again, consistently over a long period of time. There you go. That's it.
Yeah.
There's no big tricks. It's kind of boring,
Yeah.
Oh.
But yeah, no, I agree. I completely agree. So I think, yeah. I mean, I don't know. We've kind of said this a lot in our podcast and in our other lives, but hopefully we'll stick with somebody and it will resonate with somebody.
We made it to our hour. We just passed it. So that was our goal. Go live for an hour. Yeah. We made it. If you checked in or you ever check this, if you see this, we appreciate it. Thank you.
Leave us comments and
leave some
us
comments
questions
or something.
so we can actually answer some questions. We've had some questions from like LinkedIn and Reddit before. Leave us any comments.
Subscribe to us.
Make sure to tell Mike that he is an AI.
Yeah, right.
That's it.
The Big Brain Strategy YouTube channel is actually kind of growing slowly but surely. So subscribe. We'd appreciate it.
Please subscribe.
So
appreciate you guys.
All right, everybody. Thank you very much. We appreciate it. We'll see you.